Well, surprise, surprise, ladies and gentlemen. I figured it wouldn't hurt to continue our time-honored tradition of showing off the very original of a game that we'll later cover with the Reignited trilogy. And I promise you this time, the wait time will not be nearly as long.
Nope. We'll have everything ready to go.
Pretty much, because just as this rhino ninja sneaks in to steal that egg, Spyro is ripped raring to go for Year of the Dragon.
This was the end of was this the end of Insomniac's involvement with Spyro?
Yes, it was.
Yep, and boy howdy, with the gameplay elements featured in Year of the Dragon, it definitely shows they were more or less ready to move on afterwards, because where do you go after this, other than space?
Yeah, they definitely... yeah, actually, more on that when we actually get to covering the Reignited trilogy, but this was definitely where they started tinkering around with a lot of gimmicks that we would later see pop up in the original Ratchet and Clank. But yeah, so let's learn what the story is.
So, compared to Ripto's Rage and even the original game beforehand, this one definitely puts a little more forefront in its own story. So much so that, I mean, Iki more or less brought up his dismay with Ripto's Rage stuff, that it doesn't really have any of those fancy little intros for the levels, but again, they're making up for it with this this story here.
Yep, a lot of little interquel cutscenes and... So some weird-looking gerbil is telling all these dinos to capture every dragon egg.
That ain't no gerbil. There's a bunny rabbit in a hood.
Oh, okay.
And she's making all these rabbit holes so that she and her cohorts can steal all the eggs, but,
oh boy.
Obviously, she's good at making holes, but she's not quite as good at as stuff.
Ow!
Oh, Hunter!
Just a bit...
Yeah, apparently Laura and the professor couldn't deal with Hunter's shenanigans, so...
That's believable.
So Hunter's hanging out with us here. Oh!
Don't...
Dang.
Wow.
They got out scot-free with the eggs, unfortunately, and now a powerful villain will soon emerge herself.
We managed to capture the eggs, Your Highness.
Millhouse?
Yes.
Is that Millhouse's actor?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe you
well, shit, that's news to me.
And who's the sorceress?
Go guard the tunnel.
She's an unknown voice actress to some degree.
Fair enough.
A one and done.
Also, yes, welcome, Sammy.
Yeah, like, honestly, I feel like, because we want to get Sammy more involved in videos, I feel like this is definitely going to be, like, her element to thrive, because she is quite the Spyro fangirl.
I sure am, and I've watched so many people play Reignited Trilogy and Spyro, it's not even funny, and I've helped so many of them.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a good thing that you'll be with us for when we eventually tackle Reignited. Oh, Year of the Dragon, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we kind of already covered the other first two. But I guess to quickly sum up my thoughts on that for you before we get back to the classic game, I was far more of a buff in
Doop.
It can't fit.
Well, gonna have to rely on the old boot.
Find the eggs and bring them back, Spyro.
But yeah, no, it's basically Sammy. When as fun as I did have with the Insane trilogy, I was absolutely excited to see the Reignited trilogy coming to consoles.
Oh no, I was ecstatic. I was like fangirling so hard when I heard that they were coming out. I was like, yes.
I mean, it goes about. We figured it was only a matter of time, and lo and behold, they eventually did it.
Yep. So as for Year of the Dragon, yeah, here's the third one. Had a lot more emphasis on collectibles. What is our main collectible of this game, James?
Today, our main collectible are all the dragon eggs that all those that bunny girl and her throng of rhino people have taken to this brand new world that is apparently, well, it's lost a bit of its luster, but only recently has it been starting to thrive again because of all the dragon eggs scattered.
Oh yeah, it's on the other side of the world.
Pretty much.
There's our first one.
Isabel. Look at the little fur
Aww.
Yeah, embrace the cuteness that are the dragon eggs. We'll be seeing plenty of them in this game. I think there's like over 100 of them.
There's a lot of them. So gameplay-wise, Spyro more or less controls the same as he did in Ripto's Rage, plus all the upgrades he got, like climbing ladders and ground pounding, and also swimming underwater.
Oh yeah, and the hover. Can't forget the hover.
Shut up, Zoe. Nobody cares, Zoe. Go away, Zoe.
Damn.
I hear you loud and clear, Cindy Vortex.
Oh, is that her? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel bad for telling her to shut up then now.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, if you want to know what feels guilty about that, you can just also compare her to Ashley Graham.
Fair.
How sad. Look here, Dragon. If you know what's good for you,
Jeez, now she mentioned it, I do hear a teeny bit of Millhouse in this voice.
Looks like things are turning up Bianca today.
Ah, yes, Bianca. By this point, she pretty much becomes a big mainstay for the Spyro series, and this is her debut as a pseudo-antagonist.
Yeah.
But even as a kid playing this, I kind of had a feeling that she wasn't all that bad. I mean, look at her little magical wisp. When she's like just a little rainbow, I was like, that can't be evil.
yeah. And it's also just kind of amusing.
It's a rainbow of doom.
Oh, fair.
Sorry, just really amusing, like, comparing, like, the voice work between this and Reignited. Like, she sounds a lot more, like, confident and, to a certain extent, sinister in that bit of dialogue there compared to Reignited, where it's, like, it was a lot more clear she was trying to put on a front to try and intimidate Spyro, but not do a good job of it.
Yeah.
And of course,
Boo!
Fat Bear himself, Moneybags.
Boo!
yeah, how did he even find his way here from Avalar?
Money!
Ah, fair.
But still, boo!
So yes, this time they actually just straight up make Moneybags kind of an accomplice. for
Pretty
money.
much. Like, unlike Ripto's Rage, where he was kind of just taking advantage of the whole situation, already, despite being on Ripto's bad side, here, he played it smart, for lack of a better word, and as, now sort of working with the new game's villain, the Sorceress.
Don't worry, we'll
And
get you out soon.
Please get me out of here soon.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as part of his contract, he's captured all of these cute little animal friends that Spyro will be coming across throughout the game, who are pretty much our additional playable characters.
The gimmicks, as I call them.
I just found one of those portal thingamajigs that leads to a different world.
Thank you,
but you'll
Hunter.
have to glide to get across to it.
I still don't know what's wrong with your mouth.
Then press the X button again.
I'll at least give Hunter credit for Year the Dragon. At least his tutorials aren't quite as long-winded.
Oh yeah, it's a very swift one. Like as soon as
Right.
you get past
They
this.
partially expect you to have come off of this after Ripto's Rage.
Right.
I saw something shiny in that cave.
Also, yes,
Let's go check
some
it
of you
out.
may have already noticed that,
Get there
I don't know if it was intentional or
Just
what,
press
but
the triangle button
he looks a little
at the
too
end of
tilted
the
for my
bar.
liking.
He's leaning, looming over you.
Maybe he's trying to. Maybe that's his attempt to try to look down into your eye level.
Probably. I mean, look at that!
I'm T-posing in order to establish dominance, Spyro.
You're not even holding your arms up, though.
Whose side are you on, Hunter? You have an egg!
Here we get the coal train.
You have an egg, and you forgot to give. You have these eggs, Hunter, and you forget to give them to Spyro. Whose side are you on?
Something shiny at the bottom
Sorry,
of the
Spyro, it just didn't cross my mind at the time.
I think I
It's
hear
very unclear, Sammy, until Hero's Tale of if I'm even actually good at my job.
Actually, it's
I can tell you what though, that Michael Jackson music video really taught me something special.
like, well, of course it didn't cross your mind, Hunter, because there's nothing in your head to cross.
True point. And right away they're giving us access to some power-ups.
Oh yeah, so unlike Ripto's Rage, where these superpower gates were fueled by energy you get from enemies, now you'll just find them every once in a while on the level, and you get to use them automatically. Because this game kind of reverts enemies to Spyro 1 logic again, where they will carry a gem on them if you defeat them.
Which I don't mind that. I honestly liked having that, higher incentive to find them, and it also means that they're pretty much expected to be completely cleared out.
Exactly.
So I want to ask, like, in terms of Spyro's overall moveset, does he still get to, like, from the start, keep the things that he unlocked in Ripto's Rage, like the ability to swim and the horn dive?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, everything he was able to gain from Ripto's Rage is pretty much kept here, like, from the start.
I went back down there.
Whoop!
And though that being said, though, there are no more new abilities for Spyro to gain. Instead, he primarily relies on the occasional gimmick thrown at him.
Gotcha.
Right. We'll see this a lot more in the Reignited trilogy when we go through the entire game, but it's they will start throwing vehicles and mini games and different play styles even once you start looking into more of the critters and
Basically put, this is pretty much to Spyro what Warped was to Crash Bandicoot. Though I will also say in Spyro to Crash's defense, I think it's a little more
Balance.
pushed harder. It's a little pushed. It's pushed far harder in Spyro's case.
I have to agree.
Yeah, you'll not go through a single level without seeing at least 2 to 3 new gimmick rooms, which, not for nothing, this was the one that I asked. This is the one that I elected to, play the reignited version of, since I had the most experience with this growing up. But it's definitely something where, out of the trilogy, I do still find myself going back to the first game a little bit more. But
Same here. It's just far more straightforward and streamlined.
But Sammy, as we talk over Zoe, because we don't care about her, what were your thoughts on on this growing up with it?
Okay, so I won't lie, this one's actually my favorite game of the 3. I really like it because I do like exploring and trying to find stuff. I do like the mini games as well, though I will say I kind of agree it can throw gimmicks around a little too often and it's a little confusing just to learn back again.
Right.
But I love this growing up because, Spyro's always been my childhood for a long time, so it holds a special place in my heart.
That's fair.
And please, maybe one day we'll get that Spyro 4.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Someday.
Assuming the whole merger between Microsoft and Activision doesn't come with too many caveats.
Yeah.
Well, as far as this goes, so I again, suspicious looking rock.
With an egg underneath it, I'm surprised it wasn't squished.
Oh, trust me, that's not even the worst.
Aww.
Dude, when you put a witch under that rock, she literally turns into a full-on skeleton. That egg got it lucky.
That is fair.
I see an
And
egg,
they're already telling us how to swim in it. But yeah,
get it, but I don't want
so yeah, I forget the order still, but I do want to say I started with this game first because Ripto's Rage was acting up weird on my PlayStation 2, and then the first game I was a little, not intimidated by, but there was a lot for me to pick up with that game. But this game I remember being the one that introduced me to a lot of these animal buddies, like Sergeant Bird and stuff, before Hero's Tale brought him back.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've already brought up before that my first primary experience with Spyro, sad as it is to say, was with Enter the Dragonfly. Then I moved on to Hero's Tale not long afterwards, and then once I got a PS2 to myself, I actually did decide to go grab the classic trilogy, at least when I could find them, at my local Blockbuster, because it was by that time they actually started to sell some of their games for a discount.
That's right.
And I remember getting Spyro 1 I want to say I got Spyro 1 first, and then immediately after I was able to find Year of the Dragon. And then it took me a while to find Ripto's Rage later, but that's pretty much its own story.
Right. And my portal just disappeared right in front of me. If you go find some more of those dragon eggs, I bet this portal will
This
turn
voice
on
sounds
again.
very familiar to me, but I don't know why.
Cindy Vortex.
Yeah, it's Cindy.
That was it.
Yeah, the game, it kind of like with Spyro 1 and 2, they do recycle voice actors for a bunch of the characters.
Some of which you might recognize if you watched a whole lot of Nickelodeon.
That is fair. I mean, Tom Kenny notwithstanding, but yeah, that's fair. And already they're tossing out a lot more portals that have requirements to them. But if you're at the start, it'll be kind of rough. But if you go about your job collecting everything as you should, you're not going to be in any real trouble.
Yeah. I think we have enough to free the Kangaroo now.
I do believe we do. And this is one of those cases where I can sort of understand from a gameplay purpose why they would want to hold off on these, but in context, Zoe was literally over there not that long ago. It's like, you could just have her fly over here and give us the mission now so we can take care of it. And this here's pretty much our end goal for this world. We need to find 5 souls to pull the balloon down for us to ride.
Yes. Their sacrifice will be appreciated. And yeah, as far as the spark signs go, that's a whole little thing where, for whatever reason, they will never unlock in a hub until you have cleared that hub and return back to it. There you go.
Yay!
Jeez, all that effort for one freaking gem. Don't you just hate when that kind of stuff happens?
Yeah.
More on that when we get to Reignited's take on this game, and in particular the system they gave Sparks in how lax he's become with his responsibility of picking up any gems I go near.
Yeah.
For now,
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's usually the exception rather than the rules. So
Yeah, I remember my boyfriend, Doug, telling me he kind of rage quit out of this game because he couldn't find one particular gem. He just in terms of the Reignite trilogy, he was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm out, yo.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it is funny, too, considering that whole gem radar that Sparks has on his person that we praised to high hell with Reignited Trilogy. That technically originated from Spyro 3 proper.
Yep.
But you have to unlock it first, so keep that in mind.
But still, really handy. And let's.
Also,
again-
I love how more blunt Moneybags is with some of his dialogue in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, it allows for what's about to happen to feel far
No
more
hard
justified.
feelings.
Let's see.
And I will admit, I do love the suddenness of it in here compared to Reignited.
Yeah.
Appreciate this favor I'm doing in letting you out.
As good of
Also,
you,
yeah, this
How
is
are
Sheila.
feelings, eh?
Yep.
Right. After all, I'm just doing my job.
Get punched!
Oh.
Ouch.
And that was Moneybags sent straight to a rock.
I reckon
He
you
becomes the
could
punching
use
bag
this.
with good reason.
Yeah, named Spyro.
Never thought I'd see one. You dragons used to rule this entire world, you know. Then all of a sudden.
Also,
you're
yes, for those watching this after having mostly played Reignited, it is kind of weird looking back on her and seeing that she was pretty much bare bones
Well,
naked.
she's just supposed to be an animal, not an
The
anthro.
world just sort of went with him.
Well, isn't she technically an anthro as it is anyway?
No, I mean, well,
Kangaroos tend to look like this, to
yeah,
be
kangaroos.
fair.
The kangaroos are, you know, bipedal.
Is that why some of the
Now, if
portals don't
Spyro here were walking about just flexing on his every whim, then I'd have an argument to be made there. For now,
Come visit anytime you
she's gonna head off to her world because she is not a freely playable character, but a situational one.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Every character you do free does have a stage to themselves, first and foremost, to get you accustomed with their control set and all that. Afterwards, there will be the occasional portal you'll find in any given Spyro level that'll let you play as them for a brief bit.
Yep.
Speaking of which,
In some
yeah.
regards, I feel like Crash 4 pretty much ripped this off wholesale, considering
It
its
did.
timeline levels.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which also, speaking of, if a Spyro 4 is ever made, please don't add like a few 2 extra gems behind a blind jump in the opposite direction of the camera while being obstructed by 3 different pieces of polygons.
Honestly, I feel like that probably won't be as big of a problem with Spyro as it would be for Crash, because Spyro was basically built with that level of exploration in mind as opposed to Crash.
Yeah. Oh well.
So Sheila, unlike her new dragon friend, she's a little more
Slower.
I don't want to say, yeah, a lot more simple. She can still jump, and I mean honestly, her jumps are pretty dang impressive when you really think about it.
Oh yeah.
The only real downside to her is that when she jumps, she has what I like to call Luigi traction, where she doesn't get much like horizontal distance, more so vertical.
She also has a super jump where if you hit the jump button right as you land, she can do like a super hop.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will say it's kind of weird though, looking back on it, because like when replaying Year of the Dragon, well, I definitely do lament not having the flexibility that Spyro has in Reignited Trilogy. Playing as the friends in the original Spyro 3 feels a little more natural, in my honest opinion.
really.
Would you say
Like,
there's
it
any...
doesn't feel quite like it's more of a mental thing than anything, but it doesn't feel quite as, for lack of a better word, unnatural.
I guess.
I
Like,
think I'll take
I'll
your word
just-
for that. I think I see where you're coming from there. I was gonna ask Sammy something, but go ahead, Hype.
Well, I was about to say that I am kind of curious as to like how you would elaborate further on that, because I don't remember them controlling particularly bad in Reignited, but
I feel like with Reignited Trilogy, Sheila's lack of air control feels a little more obvious than it does in the original.
There's a bit of tank controlsy there. Sammy, what did you think of the animal buddies?
Sheila and Sergeant Bird and all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
I thought Sheila was fine. Sergeant Bird was my favorite, and Bentley was pretty funny. Agent 9's just kind of chaotic, and I kind of appreciated that. I think Sheila was kind of the weakest one for me because she's so like straightforward and kind of just like bland in terms of personality.
Jump good.
I will have to agree with you there. As far as the 4 is concerned, Sheila is not one of my personal favorites. I would say mine is still forever Agent 9.
And me, I do like Sergeant Bird a little bit, but Bentley, having been reminded of his vast lexicon in Reignited, Bentley's kind of grown on me a bit as well.
Oh yeah, no, as a character, Bentley's hilarious. As a playable character, though, yeah. And I will
Whoa,
honestly say, I feel like
Ow.
I definitely feel. Ow, fuck you. I guess I could also say, I guess the more I stop and think about it, I feel like with Reignited's case, for the most part, they didn't quite do the friends justice. At the very least, Sheila and Bentley, because Bentley, holy shit, his stuff is just the fucking worst in this game.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's been, from what I understand, that's kind of like a general consensus when it comes to like Spyro 3, regardless if it's the original or reignited. In terms of like outright control, Bentley's usually seen as like the weaker link.
But I will say they definitely, same as with the original, they definitely get the most creative with Agent 9, at least in terms of his gameplay.
Which we'll definitely dive more into once we actually start doing the reignite stuff proper. For now, for the sake of this look at, I'm only going to be showing off Sheila because, well, the others, freeing the others would require me to actually show off all the other worlds, like right to the end.
Have you guys here? I guess this is definitely more so to hype. Have you guys ever played the original game all the way through?
Not the original one. I did beat the reignited version a few days ago, though. Like, fully 100%, rescued Yin Yang and all that.
I can vouch for it. I was watching him do that the whole entire time.
But did you break the game like I did?
If I did, it was unintentionally, and I might have forgotten.
Yeah, more on that later. In my reignited trilogy, I got more than 100% because the game borked.
Well, to be fair, with Year of the Dragon, you are allowed to get more than 100%.
Yeah, let me kick that down for you. You look kind of pathetic when you were doing it.
My feet are bigger than yours. Don't read too far into that statement, but it means they're powerful.
Also, if it's not immediately obvious, the goats that are in Sheila's Alps are, they're your typical
gruffs,
mischievous types.
Yeah, but like they're murdering the eggs. They're like, oh hey, I'm gonna make an omelet out of this one, and
that's the other thing is that like. In every situation, in almost all situations, these eggs are not being rescued for you. In most cases, like even the people themselves, like they've never seen a dragon egg before, so they just think that they're just like all the time. They'll be like, "Oh look, I found this ball, but it didn't actually bounce, but it should be fine." Oh, this one was found inside of an ice cube, and Bianca actually turned into a woolly mammoth, but could be better. Also Rhinox, that's right.
Yep, those are the names of the sorceress's main grunt works.
Oh, that's weird.
In some ways, Ripto would more or less rip them off, like in later games, and call them his Riptox.
Yeah.
It was weird, and also because it was weird, and it was mainly because, let's be honest, is because it was a lot easier for them to, like, as opposed to making unique enemies for every single area, have one distinct faction that they could then dress up.
Yeah.
The hell? Oh, it's a blue-footed booby.
Oh,
hello.
Well, it was a blue-footed booby.
And in his dialogue, he said he's going to try to distract the Rhinox while you take care of their huts. Oh, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really mean anything, but yeah.
He's not doing he's not doing a good job about it.
No, they're all still scrambled around the place.
He's literally just waving his arms around like a wacky inflatable arm.
Yeah.
I just like the sound. I just like the sound they make when you kick them. Just like the thing. It's freaking.
Actually, since we're in the middle of this, I do want to ask her. Since she wasn't there when we covered the other two games, like, what would you say your thoughts are on Spyro 1 and 2? Like, not like specific versions, but just 1 and 2 in general, Sam.
Oh boy. Okay.
Poor Rhinox.
Here we go. I don't particularly care for the first game. There are some problems I have with it, because I think that, but to be fair, I give the first game a little more slack because it was, like, the first game in terms of the original one. I have my opinions on the reignited one, but that's for another time. But I thought it's the weaker one in my opinion. I thought Ripto's Rage was okay, but I do have a hot take, and I think that Ripto shouldn't have been the mainstay villain. I think the Sorceress or Nasty should have been.
I kind of have to agree with you there, because Ripto, for all intents and purposes, was meant to be a very pathetic villain.
Yeah.
Who just happened to have some really, really fun dialogue attached to him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because it does seem like, as of late, they have been trying to shine a little bit more spotlight on Nasty himself, like, between him guest starring along with Spyro and, like, the 2 Crash games he appeared in and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And I'd say it was for the most part pretty welcome.
Yeah, even though I don't really like Nasty either, because, like, he talks all tough, but then all of a sudden he runs away, like, bitch.
I mean, honestly, I just think that's kind of funny. Like the fact that he'll never accept his losses. He just constantly brags about saying that he was the one that defeated Spyro back then and there. Right down to when he had his appearance in CTR.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
And then also like every once in a while when you're playing the game, he'll literally just taunt the other players, going on, "You're ugly."
That hurt my feelings.
Again, just anytime, like, because I love the visual of it in Reignited, where after the dragon with his smug expression going, like, he is ugly. When it shows the close-up of Ripto going, ugly! I keep imagining, like, it pauses on that expression, and then it cuts to, like, the bit from, like, Into the Spider-Verse, where instead of Peter crying in the tub, it's Ripto crying in the tub. Well, not Ripto, Nasty, yeah.
I handled it like a champ. All right,
But yeah, Sheila's Alps is more or less cleaned up, and I'll definitely share the sentiment with most other players. They didn't keep that whole fanfare from the original Spyro 2, so that's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, before we head on off, because sorry everybody, but more or less the big traditional Spyro level was the hub. Hope you enjoyed that. For now, James is going to show us some of the gimmicks.
Yes, in a matter of speaking, because I figured it would be kind of improper to just keep it to just the hub and Sheila's Alps, because we're going to spend some time down in Sunny Villa,
Yay!
the first major level of the game. And if you play your cards right, you should probably do this after you freed Sheila.
That's what I do anyway, just so I can, because I prefer at the very least to maximize. Okay, more or less, I try to maximize. What the?
Well,
Rest in peace, majestic creature.
No.
how dare
Anyway,
you?
welcome to the end of Sunny Villa, but in particular, James wanted to get here because the gimmick he wants to show is by the end portal.
Also, yay, famous giant chicken egg. Wait a
Colonel
minute.
Sanders. There he is, everybody.
Doing the chicken dance.
He'll grow up to big things
He'll
later.
do great things.
I'm sorry. That was the ugliest chicken I've ever seen.
Sorry, Mario.
It says you.
Get on out of here.
And then he just bailed.
Arrivederci. But yeah. Anyway, I'd like to do this after Sheila so that I can minimize, I want to maximize, I should say, the amount of, like, one-way trips I take care of levels in, but...
Right, because there is a portal leading to something that Sheila can tackle in this level. But that's not this portal. This portal leads to probably the most sickest gimmick Spyro has.
Pants.
I found this gladiator training.
I can't believe I finally found pants that fit me, Spyro. This magical realm has everything.
Will you ever find your running
It feels
shoes?
so reassuring on my...
I bet you can't catch all
No,
15 of them
finish that
running
sentence,
around
James.
here.
What is it
Come
reassuring
back
on?
if you want some boarding tips from the master.
That reassuring on my fanny.
There you go. But yeah, skateboard.
I would have said liberating, but that works too.
That's true. Sad.
I wonder if that bunny chick would appreciate how generous it is to my posterior.
Later. For now, how did the skateboarding controls feel in this, James?
They take some getting used to, but it's not really that bad. The main thing you want to worry about is when you're jumping off a ramp like this.
Right.
Show your face
Align
the other
yourself
way.
just right,
Oh boy.
and you'll still slide as if it were nothing. But if you mess up, you fly
Oh
out.
boy.
Yeah.
So, to their credit, I think Toys for Bob grabbed most of these pretty well, like for all
the most
the
part.
devices. But for now,
save for like the last two times you're using the skateboard.
oh right, the races. I don't care for the races.
Oh, yeah, the
those
race.
get a little more elaborate in what you have to do to actually beat them. And it's actually funny because a while back, my friend Tara was literally playing through the Reignite trilogy, and she actually liked the skateboarding stuff up until she had to do the races, and then she just cursed them.
Well, the trick system isn't too bad. I mean, if you played most Tony Hawk games, you kind of get the gist of it.
And I'm pretty sure that's the main reason why this is here in the first place, to more or less bank off of how big Tony Hawk / the BMX stuff was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what's really funny is that, like, I was fine with the
Not
skateboarding
BMX,
stuff.
fucking X Games.
X Games,
That's
yes. Sorry.
What's funny is that, like, I was fine with the skateboarding stuff for the most part. It wasn't until the big skateboarding thing, and I'm gonna classify it as part of the skateboarding thing since it does run off the same kind of engine. But the big, like, jet-powered snowboard race near the end.
Right, no, yeah, that race. Oh, more on that later.
That one, some could argue, is just borderline broken.
Well, the reason that was hard for me is that, like, at the time I didn't consider it similar to the skateboard, so I forgot. Oh, that's right, I could do tricks that build up my meter.
Oh yeah, no, and you can actually, if you combo it right, you'll get a ton of off to the heavens.
Right.
Straight to the heavens.
Bye,
You can get a ton
Spyro.
of boost.
I found this in
But,
a lizard burrow.
Yeah, no, so expect in this game to encounter everything from submarine rides to boat combat to tanks to ice skating again from the second game.
By the way, Hunter, where's your helmet?
Oh, that's right. Well, I asked where I could get a helmet, and then she said she had like 5, and then I said...
Yeah, actually, why did he make that joke? I don't ever see him wearing a helmet.
Well, I think that's part of the joke, the fact that he doesn't wear a helmet.
Which is actually funny considering I know in Reignited's case they actually do give him a freaking helmet.
Yep.
Didn't they also give him knee pads?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe so.
To
And
promote safety.
maybe shoes as well, but I forget.
Well, no, like, if he couldn't find his running shoes, I'm pretty sure he'd have trouble finding his skating shoes.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair point. We never do see him in running shoes, do we?
No.
You know, that should be a plot point in Spyro 4.
Bring out all the deep cut references. Die.
I mean, they do that plenty with Crash. Why not do it with Spyro?
All I know, I'm expecting it. I'm expecting, especially the fact that at the very end, Moneybags is like, "I'm going to become a haiku poet," or whatever. They better bring back that was his actual profession for a while until he realized there was no money in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, just as far as closing off the trilogy, apart from all the gimmicks, it is really interesting to go from the first to the third to see how much music.
Maestro?
Is it the same composer, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Stuart
Yeah.
Copeland.
Okay.
Yeah, same composer throughout all 3 games.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is really neat to see how far this game has advanced. Like how far the series went from just being your typical low poly, small area collectathon to now like multi-roomed, like various NPCs with dialogue everywhere, cutscenes. Like it's really neat to see how that evolved.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely still argue that in some ways it does, like, again, just how much they try to cram into this game really is a testament to why Insomniac needed to make the jump that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, on its own merits, like, I still think it has its positives. Most especially in the, trying to wrap things up and remember that, hey, the dragon species was still a thing.
Was sweet.
You actually touched the heavens, Spyro. The
You're
prophecy
gone
only said it
now.
could be done once in a lifetime, but you've done it twice.
Tell me,
Hi, I'm
Spyro.
Daisy! Okay, anyways.
Ah, look at it go.
What were you gonna ask, Hype?
It's like, tell me, when you touch the clouds, did they actually taste like cotton candy, like my brain tells me they do?
Score as many points as you can.
Actually, it tastes more like water.
Wow!
Fascinating. I never
He
knew
just
my
writes
brain
it down
was
on a
that-
notepad.
Just writes it down. Anyway, so course records. So what are we doing? Oh yeah, we're trying to build. Yeah, now it's time to do the trick system.
Whoop-a-da-doo.
You know what? Maybe I'm not built for doing tricks. I'm 4-legged after all.
This
How
is
can you
just
skateboard on 4
silly.
legs?
Yeah, but with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much what all I had the patience to record of the very original Year of the Dragon.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
that being said, Logan, you can take it from here.
Yep, stay tuned, everybody. It's my turn to finally do the damn thing that I said I wanted to do since the beginning. It's now time to finally tackle the trilogy. We just gotta find Icky and drag him out here.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba. Till next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Icky!